Welcome to Partnerships for Profit, the podcast where we bring you inside the world of joint ventures, strategic partnerships, and powerful collaborations. Whether you're looking to expand your network, find new referral partners, or scale your business, you're in the right place. Let's get started.
Welcome to Partnerships for Profit. Today we are joined by Valerie Fenchel, who is a child-focused family law attorney and the founder of Fenchel Family Law PC. Valerie, welcome to the show.
Hi, Adrian. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Can you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about Fenchel Family Law?
Sure. I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I have a family law firm, and we focus on high stakes, kind of complex asset, high net worth kind of family law issues in the San Francisco Bay Area. We have a team of 6 attorneys, including me. And we're really proud of the work we do, and I'm proud of the firm I've created, and I'm always looking to help others, help run their businesses and provide more value to their employees and their clients.
And when clients come to Fenchel Family Law, what are some of the problems and pain points that they're experiencing that you're helping them solve?
I think clients come to us with really complex family law matters, whether it's a complex custody matter involving maybe a child with special needs or a move away issue, or a complex financial dispute. But I think more than the legal issues, what really aligns a lot of our clients is a struggle with probably a spouse that has some sort of mental health or substance abuse issue, because often that's what makes these conflicts more high stakes, because I find typically they don't need us, right? They can typically resolve this with a mediator or with some kind of consulting attorney. But when two parties can't communicate because of these other issues, I think then they really need that high level of service and help from us.
Right. Well, and you mentioned, a child with special needs. What sort of, extra steps are there in the process? What sort of extra precautions and things go into a case that is involving a child with special needs?
Yeah, I think the divorce rate for parents with special needs children is already super high. It's very sad because those type of families, are already having such a hard time, and they already really need those resources of therapists and different supports for their child, whether that involves government supports or supports through their school or, kind of private therapy or private kind of services. But when there's a breakdown in communication to the parents, that can be very hard on the kid and also on the parents. It's already hard to navigate parenting a child that's healthy, right?
Right.
I find it hard. So add in, a child with special needs, I think it can really be destabilizing and debilitating to these parents. So it's getting on the same page as far as what's the child's diagnosis and how to best help this child succeed, right?
Right. Well, and, I'm curious, in situations like that, is there is there, I guess what I'm asking, is there a point where, you would prefer sort of handling counseling rather than litigation?
What do you mean by that?
Well, is there a moment like, where you would basically suggest, instead of going through with a full divorce and litigation, that you would suggest some other alternative route?
Yeah, I mean, I used to do all of our case evaluations myself, where I would talk to all the potential clients and help them figure out if they were a good fit for my firm. And that was always a part of it. If we're talking to someone that seems like they might want to stick it out and have their marriage work out, but they're just having some doubts and they're calling us as kind of a sounding board, we're never going to talk them into getting divorced and breaking up their family, right? We have a list of referrals for, couples counselors and that kind of thing. But, the truth is, typically when they get to calling our office, I don't find it to be a problem. Someone that comes to our office that really should be working on their marriage, that instead is too bullheaded and stubborn and insisting on getting divorced. I really find it to be the opposite, where people call our office and they're so scared. And they're so scared of going through the divorce process that they're trying to convince themselves to stick it out with a spouse that's not able to put their children's best needs first.
Right.
And so to me, it's an act of courage and an act of kindness to really come to terms with the truth of where their family is, to figure out what they can do that's best for their kid, which often involves, insisting on certain supports or resources or getting their kid diagnosed, to which their spouse is unwilling to agree to. So I think it needs to lead to litigation. I think I don't want to say it's the worst case scenario if there's if the other parent's really unwilling to do what's best for the kid, because often that results in the best
Right.
scenario for the kid. But we do everything possible to use mental health professionals, to keep the matter out of court, to figure out how to get the other party to agree to doing, what's best for the child.
Right. Well, and if there's a situation where, one spouse is abusive and it's in an abusive situation, what kind of protections can you provide and help put in place to ensure safety for your clients?
Yeah, I think that, there's all different kinds of abuse. And
Mm,
sometimes people that call our office, they're being abused and they wouldn't call it abuse, right? Because,
right.
a lot of us, we think we can deal with anything that's thrown at us and we're not going to be victims. So I think for us, the first step is defining what is abuse. And it doesn't necessarily need to be physical abuse. More often than not, it's emotional abuse.
Mm,
When it's feeling unsafe in your home and, just in your life. And that's
right.
not always abuse that's defined as abuse by the family court in California. So something being legally defined as abuse versus something that we have our clients realize is unsafe for them or unhealthy that they need to get out of, that's two kind of different
Right.
buckets. But,
Right.
I think the first step is just being really honest and authentic with your family law attorney so we can really provide you the help that you need. And then determining, is it legal? Is it some kind of abuse that's legally defined as
Mhm.
abuse where you can get a domestic violence restraining order? Or is it something where we just need to put the right resources in place or the right boundaries to make sure that you feel safe? And, maybe it doesn't need to be escalated to court. Because oftentimes the attorney will be willing to say things that the client is unable or unwilling to do that will actually protect the client more than the client's been able to protect him or herself.
Right. Well, and because every situation is sort of unique, are you having, when your clients come to Fenchel Family Law, are you really custom tailoring your strategic approach to the individual client and case, or is it sort of a one size fits all?
Yeah, there's all different kinds of family law firms out there. And I've come to find from talking to other family law firm owners that most are kind of this high volume kind of firm,
Mm,
which respect, but
right.
ours is a little different. Ours is low volume, high value. So
Mm,
we really take a lot of pride in how we care for our clients. And the last couple of years, I started calling it white glove service because I thought that sounded fancy. But yeah, I think that every client's a special snowflake to us. And
mm,
sure, as a client, oh, okay, this is one of those really caring dads that can't set boundaries and is being abused but doesn't realize it. Okay, that's definitely a big bucket at our firm,
right.
but how we talk to that client, how we care for that client is going to be based on what that client shares with us. And that's specific to every case. We don't have a template practice where, you get these 20 template letters and that's how we do it.
Right.
Every case has its own legal strategy and our own thought process and, based on what our client wants, because two clients can be in the exact same situation and have very different expectations or wants and needs. Right. So I
Sure.
think more than doing legal work in family law, it's really how to support that individual human to make them feel heard and seen and feel like we're moving them forward to the place where they want to be. Because even if someone comes to us and they're being abused, we want them to get a restraining order. If they don't want that restraining order, it would be a disservice for them for us to go forward with that, right? So
Right.
it's really based on, yeah, the client's individual needs more than anything else.
Yeah. And then that sort of, low volume, high value, white glove service, is that how you have always operated, or was it sort of an evolution to get to that point?
Yeah, I think that, like for me, as an attorney, that's how I've always operated. Is really treating the client like a human and really connecting with
Mm,
them on a deeply human level. Sharing stuff about my life and what's helped me, and trying to get them to kind of be more aligned and have courage to put themselves first and protect their kids. Before I had kids, I was still very passionate about that because I used to teach little kids. So it's just something that really gets me going, and I see little kids having a hard time because of two parents that can't figure their stuff out. I really want to try to help that client do what's best for their family and get them to a better spot. But that's not to say that law firms that have a higher volume don't feel the same way I do. I just think that operationally, to me, it's been very important to put the right people in the right places at my firm, to provide the level of value to clients that in my dreams is like as much as we can. And that's something that's a huge priority to me that, I don't know, might not be so for other firms. So I've always kind of had the aspiration to provide that level of service, but I don't think it was until I started my own firm and really have hired the right people and had the right ethos that we've really created this alignment to provide that level of value, especially for the really complex cases where it's, super complex financial landscape that requires that level of professional acumen as well.
Right. And in these situations, these kind of family law, very personal situations, it seems like success is different. Like success for each client looks different than success for this client. So how do you go about determining what success is going to look like for that individual?
I think that you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, right? So like when we do strategy sessions with potential clients, our managing attorney does them, and oftentimes she has an associate attorney with her. And it's kind of an opportunity not just for us to determine if this potential client is going to be the right fit for us, but also for the potential client to decide, are we going to be the right fit for them? And it's only if both of our expectations are kind of aligned that we move forward and sign up that client. And I think that's really helped us kind of determine the win by, number one, choosing only clients that are going to be a right fit for our firm. And I don't think I always did that. When I started my firm, I definitely often took on clients that I shouldn't have because I hadn't learned those lessons. So I think it's a thing I've learned over the last 9 years, of how to kind of figure out who the right client is for our firm and make sure we're in alignment. And it's something, we still make mistakes sometimes, but I think it's something that we're getting better at because we want something that's going to be a win for us to also feel like a win for the client, right? So we have to always be on the same page.
Right. Well, and I love that topic, and I'm getting ready to throw a big loaded question at you, so get ready. But, I'm curious, you mentioned, having to learn that over the past 9 years, having to learn that lesson. Are there any other lessons you can share with our listeners, things that you've learned over the last 9 years, or mistakes that you've made that maybe our listeners can learn from your mistakes?
Sure. Let me think.
I know, big loaded question, right?
I think I've learned, and a lot of business folks tell you this, but if I'm hiring, to hire from a mindset of abundance. I think as a business owner, it always has to be having a mindset of abundance. And whenever I feel that mindset shift, whether it's from dealing with putting out a fire drill in my business, or it's because I'm like postpartum with a new baby and my brain's just not operating like it should, I try to read business books to try to help myself feel more aligned, or I take a pause and I wait to take action until I feel that alignment inside myself. Because I think as a business owner, you have a lot of responsibility on your shoulders, and how you behave and how you communicate and the choices you make, they don't just impact you and they don't just impact your family. They impact this fleet of employees that are trusting you to support their families and to have a good quality of life. So I think taking that pause and trying to make all business decisions from a mindset of abundance, whether it's how you choose your clients, how you choose your employees, how you handle an employee that's not performing, how you handle a client that's unsatisfied. I think it all, you have to take your ego out of it and just think about if you were in their shoes. And I think for me, it's easy to get, stuck in your ivory tower of being an employer and you only think about the things you think about. But I kept a diary when I was an associate attorney for a law firm. And so I read those entries sometimes to become more compassionate, or sometimes when I deal with vendors and they irritate me, I feel like the client, so I'm like, okay, Val, let's take this nugget and learn how to implement this inside my business so that I never treat a client how I'm experiencing. I think anything in life I can apply to being a better business leader, I try my best to do. And I think having a lot of humility and knowing that every time you fail, which I fail all the time, that, I am trying to learn something from it and not to get too discouraged.
Sure. I mean, there's a lot of good lessons in there for everybody. I'm curious, are there any common misconceptions that people hold about divorce before they ever go through the process? Is there something that you're having to say, no, it doesn't work like that? Or are there any kind of common myths you'd like to dispel about divorce you think people hold?
Sure. As a mom of toddlers, if I show up at an event, at a play date or something, and I say I'm a divorce attorney, I'm often not the most popular person in the room. I think that, divorce has a really stinky edge to it where, it's not something people really want to talk about. They don't want to get that divorce virus. They don't want to catch it. Right. And I think that's a big misconception. If you're generally happily married, but you have some friction in your relationship, I'm not for you. It doesn't mean you're going to get divorced. We help clients that are going through really high stakes, high conflict divorces, and these are very specific kinds of relationship dynamics. And it's not usually personal to you, right? We're helping people going through the hardest times in their lives, where divorce is actually what they need in order to navigate their life and to break free from something that's become destabilizing and unhealthy for them and their children. It's not our desire to break up happy families. It's actually our desire to help people transition to find that happy family that they're meant to have. And I think the best moments for me as a business owner are when we have a client that we help kind of break free from an unhappy relationship, and then they let us know they're engaged, and they're actually found someone that is healthy for them. Like I went through a lot of missteps before I found my husband, and I think everybody does, and we all land where we're supposed to land, hopefully by the end of the day. But we really see our mission as helping people get to the life chapter that will make them the most fulfilled. It's definitely not breaking up families, and I think that is a big misconception.
Mm. And you mentioned mother of toddlers. How did becoming a mother and having children of your own change your perception of your practice? I mean, did that give you any insight you didn't have previously?
Yeah, for anyone listening, don't have kids 18 months apart, maybe not the easiest life choice. Uh, but yeah, I think that being a mother of two high energy little kids has really given me a lot of um, understanding of how necessary it is to have the right team. And it's really made me even more value who I hire and who works for me,
Mm,
because life is so chaotic for me personally, trying to manage mothering two little kids while trying to show up as a good employer, and create a business that's doing good work for clients and also creating value for our community. I put a lot on my shoulders. And so it's really, for me, it's finding that right team. And I have so many amazing people that work for me, and I do not take them for granted. And we're in the process of continuing to grow our team and find those right people. And it's something we're taking very seriously and thoughtfully.
mm.
I think before I had kids, felt like I could do whatever I wanted, right? And now I'm a lot more, I think, gracious and appreciative of people that are like-minded and have the similar mission and values as I do. And I also think as a mom of little kids, it's given me a lot more compassion for other mothers that come to us as clients who don't show up for us in their best way, because I know I often am not showing up in the best version of myself. So I think I think I give others a lot more grace than I used to, where I used to have more judgment, because, life can be kind of heavy and hard. And, I think it's about really seeing the light in people, even when they're going through a hard time, and being able to lift them up and still get them to where they need to go with respect and compassion.
Are there any common mistakes that you see parents making when emotions run high with regards to their children? I mean,
Sure. I think it's very easy as divorce attorneys to judge, right? It's so easy for all of us in life to judge other parents and how they're parenting their children. Um,
right.
I don't really think that judgment, you know, uh, stepping into judgment is going to help anybody. If a parent's listening and wondering what mistakes they could, could avoid,
Right.
I would suggest start doing weekly therapy with a psychologist, because I don't think it's plug and play of How to Parent by Valerie Fenchel. I think we all have our own blind spots and triggers and weaknesses from how we're raised and what we've
Mhm.
experienced in life. And I don't think the divorce attorney is the person to help you psychologically heal and become a better parent. I think we can steer clients in the right direction. I think we can say, maybe don't let the other parent be around your kid because they're abusing your child. We can give the straight black and white parameters, but I think a lot of it's a lot more gray, where clients come to us and they're not their best. And I think
Mhm.
having a really good psychologist can really help clients start showing up as their best, because they'll have space to talk it out with a trained professional in order to get more aligned on their goals. I know personally, seeing a weekly psychologist really has helped me through hard times in my life. So it's something that I really deeply, suggest our
Mhm.
clients look towards as well.
When you think back on all the clients you have been able to help through Fenchel Family Law, is there a story that stands out in particular of either an individual or a family that you really saw a positive outcome for, a positive transformation in as a result of your help and guidance?
Totally. I mean, that's why I'm here, right? That's why I built my business, and that's why I still enjoy the work, is to really the clients where we've helped transform their lives for the better. And I think that having the legal strategy and having the personality or the compassion or whatever it is to convince a client to make those hard decisions is the difference we make. But I think I would be mistaken if I said it's our role that we've transformed these people's lives. I think it's our clients that have the courage to make these tough decisions to change their own lives, and we're just that person, that team of attorneys they've selected, right, to get them to where they've already decided they need to go.
Absolutely. And I mean, I guess, we've talked about sort of what success looks like for these families. What does it look like if there's a family that really should be coming to, Fenchel Family Law, should be seeking help and guidance, but they just haven't taken that step? What does that look like for them?
Yeah, we become a firm that we rehabilitate cases.
Mm,
There's clients sometimes choose to go with a different attorney, and then they come to us to fix the mess that's been created by a family law attorney that didn't know what they were doing, or didn't take enough time and care into guiding the client to get to where they needed, or just didn't have the sophistication to handle the complexity of the financial matters or financial
right.
dispute the case. So that looks like us taking over and fixing it.
Right.
We don't take over every case. Sometimes a client might come to us complaining about their attorney, and we worry they're going to have the same complaints about us because we don't think that attorney did anything wrong. But if the client, if the client has experience in attorney that didn't communicate with them regularly and tell them where their case was at, or a law firm that just sat on their case and didn't move it forward, or didn't create a clear roadmap of what the client should expect, those are red flags where we really have a lot of confidence that we can provide that value to the client, where we're excited to take on their case and help them.
Absolutely. And I'm going to throw you a hypothetical here. So let's say that there is a, young family law attorney listening to the show. They've just hanging their first shingle and getting everything set up and ready to go. What is some advice you would give to them about how best to handle family law cases and how best to scale and grow their business?
Yeah, I wasn't that brave. I didn't just start my law firm right out of law school. I had, several years working as an associate attorney for family law firms, which I would strongly
Mm,
recommend, because I think as a business owner, if you have a desire to scale a business and not be a sole practitioner, there's a lot you need to learn by failing forward. And I think it would have been too heavy for me to not know how to practice family law while failing forward in scaling a business. So I would recommend you first we learn how to practice family law. But also, no matter how many years of family law experience you have, I don't think you're ever going to feel like you know everything. So I think it's always having mentors and people that you respect that you can reach out to for help. For me, I have colleagues that I deeply respect and admire that we kind of reach out to each other whenever we want to talk through something, whether it's a business issue or a specific family law legal issue. I think that's been super helpful for me. I think growing my network of other law firm owners has been really helpful, just to put ideas off of each other. But I think for me also, it's learning how to trust myself. I think as a business owner, you're like you're tadpole learning how to swim. You've never had business before. I didn't go to business school, and I don't know, maybe that would have helped. I have no idea because I didn't go. But it's you literally just have to learn by making mistakes,
Right.
and you can become really hard on yourself, because it can be really hard to fail all the time when you're used to getting good
Right.
grades and doing a good job. It's a different muscle that you need to build of resilience and grit, and it can be hard. So I think that's something that just, it is what it is. But I think if you have the, I don't know, perseverance to consistently fail and keep on going and figure out what lessons you learn, it's only going to help you build an amazing business. Every time I failed, every time a client was disappointed, I took that as a nugget to learn from, and I create a new process inside my firm so that doesn't happen again. Anytime you fail, whether it's refunding a client, whether you hired the wrong person, whether you posted a really stupid thing online, whatever it is you do as a business owner, whether a colleague tells you that your stuff's embarrassing online, or you're cringy, whatever it is, right? I think in order to stick out in this world, you kind of have to let your freak flag fly in order to be a successful business owner. And you have to love yourself and respect yourself enough to trust your judgment and know that you're going to do some weird things that are going to rub people the wrong way. But eventually, as you mature and grow, you'll learn that you don't need to be liked by everyone. You just need your
Right.
set few people that like you, that you care about in this world in order to get by. And otherwise it's just building a business that you feel does a good job for your clients, more importantly your employees, and also creates value for your community. And I think that that's going to be a win, whether you're liked by everyone or not. That doesn't matter, because if you're in this business to be liked by everybody, you should probably be an employee and work for somebody, because
Right.
being a business owner is a difficult climb. But in my opinion, it's been worth it to me.
Everything you're doing with Fenchel Family Law, everything, you're helping individuals, you're helping families, you're helping children. Where did this drive to help others come from? Is it something that's just innate to your character, or is it something that you've cultivated along the way?
I think I've always been like a deeply feeling person. I don't know. I listened to Dr. Becky about deeply feeling kids, and I'm like, oh, I think that was me, my poor parents. So yeah, I think I've always been pretty empathetic, and found value in helping others, but I've also always been very kind of strong-willed. I
Right.
said I always come off when people meet me. But yeah, I think I get a lot of value from helping others. And I think that in order to, grow a business where you feel driven to grow, you have to feel like you're helping others and creating value. Otherwise, it's just transactional and it's going to
Right.
feel very empty. And whenever I'm making a decision in my business that feels transactional, I know it's the wrong decision. It can't be about money. It has to be about creating value for others. And I think that's the differentiator as to what will make a business owner successful or not. Yeah, I used to want to work with kids and be a teacher, because I really like that feeling of helping people. And I think I got that as a business owner by training associates. And
Right.
now it's a bit more complicated. I feel kind of like the marionette behind the scenes running a puppet show where, I think the value I get is, really putting the right leaders in seats at my firm and watching them blossom is pretty cool. And then obviously when clients give us 5-star reviews or say we're doing a good job, that feels good. And now we're trying to do a lot more community outreach kind of stuff, like raising money or putting on events to raise awareness for nonprofits, because I think the more impact we can make on our community, it's selfish. Like the better I feel, right, about what I'm doing. So that's kind of where we're going.
Absolutely. Well, Valerie, this has been an absolutely fantastic, interesting, informative conversation. If anybody out there listening could use the help of Fenchel Family Law, could use your help and guidance, where can people find you?
Yeah, I tend to write a lot on LinkedIn these days, so you can connect with me. My name's Valerie Fenchel. I'm on LinkedIn. You can follow. I give business advice or stuff about how to survive mothering two. Well, it was 2 under 2. Now we're 2 under 4. So it's a little wonkier, but it's easier. But yeah, you can follow me on LinkedIn. Yeah, and if you're a senior family law attorney in the San Francisco Bay Area and you're at all interested in a leadership opportunity at my firm, we are growing, so I would love to hear from you.
That's great. Well, Valerie, thank you so much for coming on the show. This was fantastic.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Adrian.
And thank you, everyone, for listening. This has been Partnerships for Profit, presented by LeDuc Entertainment. Thanks again, Valerie.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Partnerships for Profit. We hope you've gained valuable insights on how to form profitable partnerships and take your business to the next level. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. Got a partnership story to share or someone you'd like to see featured on the show? Reach out to us. Until next time, keep building those partnerships for profit.